Hey guys, did you ever have that burning desire to live out in the country and thinking about, the country life is for me? I want to get away from the city. I want to get away from the hustle and bustle of my neighbors. I just need to get away from the pressure and the crime that's going on in my neighborhoods. You know, Maybe it's the fact that you love gardening or you love animals and you want to, be self-sufficient and you think the country life is for you. Well, today this is what we're here to talk about. We're talking about living the country lifestyle, and it's something that has burned in my lifetime inside me that I could not do anything but live in the country. So, um, my name's Brad. I'm with Blue Nile Farm, and I'm starting a video series on how to start a farm from scratch. And it all starts with the desire to live out in the country. And this is our first part of the video series that we're going to cover. And reason I'm covering this is because you don't just move out to the country. You have to have a reason to move out to the country and a desire. And most people that live out in the country, you know, choose to be living there because of a lot of variety of reasons, whether it's seclusion of others, just to have their own peace of mind and their own land where they're not cramped and they don't have people on top of them, or maybe to live in a different lifestyle, or just to stay active, or just to have more room. There's a variety of reasons why people do so. And there's a difference between living in the country and living a country lifestyle and having an ag business. Because they're both the same, but they're both very different. Because you can live in the country and own a lot of land and basically make no income from it. Whereas you can live in the country and you can make a lot of income, or make some kind of income doing something that you enjoy to do, and try to build a business off of that. And some people pursue that. I pursued that method for myself personally. Currently, that's what I do. I have an ag business, but I also have the passion of living in the country. So, with that said, I'm going to talk to you guys about my story, what Blue Nile Farm is, how it came to be, and how I started to live in the country and enjoying the country life. I've since I was a little kid, have always wanted to live in the country. I don't know what it was, age 4, age 5, I don't know. I just had to live in the country. I had to have animals. I loved animals, and I had that burning desire that is where I fit in. We lived in the suburbs at the time, and I went to a very progressive school. This is back in the early 70s, and eventually my parents decided, hey, we're going to move to a small farm out in the city, or out in the country, and it's just basically another half hour from where we were living, to the south, and we did that, and it worked out great. And so my parents bought an 18-acre farm, an old century house, several outbuildings, and mostly we raised animals. And we raised every kind of farm animal that you can think of, from horses all the way down to poultry. I've had rabbits, I've had cattle, I've had goats, we had sheep. It was just a very enjoyable experience, both good and bad, because we didn't always make the right decisions too, and made a lot of mistakes, because again, my parents were city people, and they had no country experience. And a little kid my age, I didn't really know much about it. And technology back then was not available like it is today. You couldn't just get on YouTube and learn about sheep or learn about goats or ducks. You had to go get to the store or get a book or talk to a veterinarian or talk to somebody that currently is a goat breeder, because that's the only way you got information. Technology was not what it is today, and people really don't understand, especially the younger generation, how hard it was to gather information. So starting an agricultural business back then wasn't that simple, and how to start a farm wasn't that simple, because there's a lot of involvement to it, and how to run a farm, and the things you need to do to take care of the animals. It was all a very different experience. So we had a lot of struggles back then, and I learned a lot from it. We were active in 4-H as kids, and then once I hit high school, I got active in FFA, which is Future Farmers of America, and got involved with that as well. But unfortunately, in high school, my priorities were mostly chasing girls and wrestling, and I really didn't apply myself properly to the agricultural lifestyle, even though that was something that burned deep inside me. I was more interested about being cool at the time, and not be, what I am today, where I love my passion is farming. So, after high school, or right before high school was over, my parents wound up getting divorced, and my parents, after we graduated, um, right after I graduated, my mother moved to a suburban house. My dad moved out and he started living his life. And I followed my mother, and we lived in a small ranch in a little subdivision, and it was driving me crazy because I couldn't stand living in a small area. But unfortunately, I didn't really have any focus in my life and didn't know what I wanted to do. I was going to college, and I was basically making mistakes. I was chasing girls and wanting to party, and I really didn't have any focus on my game plan. It took me several years to finally wake up, smell the coffee, and I eventually got a job in law enforcement. That job basically pushed me to another area where I moved away from my mother. I actually moved out and rented an apartment and started my career in law enforcement uh, for a department, and I stayed there ever since. And after the first year, I finally found some land, which is about 32 acres, um, in about a mile from Lake Erie, about an hour east of Cleveland. And it's not in the middle of nowhere, but it's in Ashtabula County, which is the northeastern corner of the state. And I bought this land, and the land basically had nothing on it. It had no house, had trees, had just a small area that was cleared, maybe a couple acres. And basically, it was just a big woodlot that at one time was farmed, but was overgrown, and it was actually lumbered in 1989, and I bought it in 95. And I didn't pay a lot for it, but back then I didn't have much money. And, I made like $14 an hour, and, interest rates were over 8 to 9%. And I started from scratch. And so that's what brings me to my passion is once I bought that land, my life transitioned from 1995 to the day of how I started my farm from scratch. And I finally felt like I was home, meaning me trying to make a dream come true on a raw piece of property that I developed from nothing. And my goal when I first started there was to buy that property and become a horse boarding facility because I thought that there was a need, and I figured that would be my best path. And that's where I started off when I purchased the property. But we had no horses at the time. I had no horses. I didn't own any horse, and I didn't have any buildings up. But that was my initial goal, was to be a horse boarding facility. And the reason why is because I thought it was more economically sound. But we'll leave it at that for now. And but that was how I started my passion. Once I had that land, it's been just a massive undertaking for many years. A lot of good, a lot of bad. And if you follow some of my YouTube videos now, you could have seen some of the good and the bad, of the things that have happened. And to me, this last year, it's been terrible. And it's been the first. It's 2024 has been a rough year. I made a lot of YouTube videos on how to, but some of the issues like a barn falling down and equipment getting damaged and a few other little headaches has caused me some real frustration, and that's part of farming, and I'm trying to move forward from that and continue driving it home. So that's how my passion starts, and with it there comes good and there's bad, like I said. And I'm just trying to rebuild my empire and the things that I enjoy, and I'm not going to take it on the chin. I'm just going to keep moving forward. So hopefully you follow my videos, and hopefully you'll understand that the drive that takes place. So with that said, I just want to throw this one out here. I would like to get some feedback from everybody why you choose to live in a country, if that's something you like to do, or why you rather live in a city. But if you're having that desire like I did, and it starts at an early age, my best suggestion is pursue your dreams, because you only live once, and try to achieve those goals, because it really does make a difference. With that said, this is the first part of a series, and I'm going to have numerous other videos related to this, so guys, stay tuned to them, and hopefully you guys enjoy them. And if you have any input, please feel free to hit me up and post it, because it's good for everybody to understand. We're all the same, but we all have some differences, and we all have underlying purposes of what we like. And country lifestyle has been very good to me, and I find it to be one of the most refreshing things I have, because at the end of the day, I can go home to my little kingdom, and I'm very happy. So with that said, guys, thanks for watching, and please follow the series, and hopefully you guys enjoy it.